our previous class, as if we had a detailed discussion on information technology and how this information technology has impacted the business strategies of the organization, how this information strategy has been a strategic enabler for the business processes. That is what we discussed in detail. In continuation with that, let us talk of the other aspect of strategic enabler, that is technology. So how this technology and the R&D factors are going to affect the strategic decisions of the organization, how this technology and R&D is going to impact the overall business, that is what we are going to discuss today. So continuing our journey, if we to talk of this technology itself. Technology is something that enhances the skill and knowledge of the organization, knowledge of the people associated with the organization, and helps in ultimate achievement of the organization's goals. So we have understood like the relevance of technology and R&D factors. Like we should know, the present day is characterized as volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous workplaces. And all of a sudden, we do come out with the requirement of responding to those kind of uncertainties or volatility in a quick succession of time. So time constant is what that makes us to think twice before we take a particular decision, right? So like say for example, all of a sudden we do got some feedback from the customers related to the service matters, and we need to act immediately on that. How do we do that? That is why we have to depend on the technological aspects. That is what organizations are witnessing nowadays, a constant process of upgrading themselves, constant process of change, whereby these organizations can cope with all those kind of impact that this business processes does have over the competitive aspects of the organization. So whenever we are talking of this technology, we come across with three basic aspects of technology. One is this product technology. This is to understand the detailed aspects of the products, like its features, the qualitative aspects of the products. Right? We are talking of the process technology, where we are talking of having a deeper knowledge into the various process parts, like we are talking of the manufacturing processes. We are talking of the technology which is being involved in the production processes of the organization. All of those are related to the process technology. And in management technology, we do talk of all those skills required to run a business. All those skills required to run a business, we come across with this management technology. So we say that there is a need for innovations. There is a need for advancement of knowledge. There is a need for adapting ourselves to the changing demands of the external environment, or maybe the changing demands of the stakeholders being associated with the organization. And for all of these reasons, we need to accommodate ourselves, adapt to those kind of technological advancements itself. So understanding that, we need to have a deeper insight into what sort of technology and R&D does have the impact on the organization. Right now, most of the time there is a misconception among the people, like this technology generation and technology development are sometimes mixed with research and developmental aspects of the organization, but they do have a minor differences among themselves, right? So what it says, whenever we are talking of technology generation, that involves research and development. We do understand that particular concept, right? So Research and development will lead to idea generations, and idea generations will lead to, involvement of new technology or adoption of new technology altogether. But whenever we are talking of technology development, this involves the further efforts of research and development to, to the manufacturing processes, to the marketable products, to the services that we deliver. Right? So, in one sense, we can say that this research and development, or understanding the research and development requirement of the research and development, will be there as a requirement of the technology. So technology generation deals with that, but technology development is how this R&D activities, whatever we do have, helps the organizations to accomplish the further level of requirements. That is what we need to understand. So in the process, if you do understand the basic aspects of research or the basic aspects of development, like why do we carry out this research in the organizations? First of all, we carry out this research to fulfill some of our requirements, needs. So what we do is that whatever existing knowledge we do have, we need to expand that further. We need to have a deeper insight into that knowledge, whether those kind of knowledge are capable enough to meet the requirements of the customer or the changing needs of the customer, whether that is being enough, or we need to expand that knowledge territory. So that is why we come out with a requirement of research, what we call it as, it's a need push research. So what is understanding the requirement, understanding the need of the customers is the first step. Then we need to come out with a research process whereby the requirements of the customers or the organizations can be taken into consideration for further course of action. Beyond that, sometimes we do say, like whatever existing knowledge we do have, even if that particular knowledge is capable enough to meet the requirements of the customers or need of the organization, but at times when we do not upgrade that knowledge, when we do not have updations, because growth of science and development has made the knowledge dimensions more flexible. So unless and until we do expand the knowledge base, whatever we do have, then there may be a problem in future. So that is where we come out with a requirement of technology push. What it says that you do have the existing knowledge base and you are required to introduce new knowledge base on the basis of that. So research focuses more on the bridging the requirements of the need and expanding the knowledge base or adoption of new knowledge base. But at the same time, when we do talk of this development, now in the process of research, what we do is that we generate ideas. We generate ideas, but development is the application of those ideas in the field activity itself. So development is more confined to the kind of engineering processes. We talk of creation of different sort of designs, or we make an application of idea in modifying the production process or rectifying the production process itself. If at all any such kind of product features are to be rectified, modified, all of those things are based on the kind of idea that we have generated out of the research. Similarly, what sort of market strategies that we need to adopt so that the products can reach to the customers. Not only that, the customers can adopt those kind of products that we come out with. So all of those will be a part of this developmental process. But beyond that, we say that all these ideas which have been created out of the research process, right, they must be converted to marketable products and services. So here we do come out with the implications of different sort of hardware or software solutions that can help us out in modifying or in rectifying the products and services whatever we do have. Or at the same time, we can think of adding more and more features to the existing product line, or we can think of adding new product lines altogether. All of those things can be possible because of the research and development activities that we do consider. But here we need to understand one thing: whatever research and development activities we do consider, right, when we convert that R&D activities to the technological aspects of the organization, we should be cautious in understanding the various factors actually that leads to the technological advancements in the organization. That is where we do come out with understanding the inputs of the organization. Right. Now, the basic inputs, if we do consider, it is the vision of the organization, which provides us a direction, which provides us a roadmap to accomplish the ultimate objective of the organization. Right. So, what are the goals of the organization? Based on that only, we need to carry out our research and development, which will ultimately end up in technology. Similarly, what sort of impact that we do have from our physiological environment? We are talking of all those environmental factors, because we say that we are operating in an open system, and there is a frequent communication, there is a frequent exchange of information between the organization to its surroundings. So all of those factors which impact the organization should be considered. So that serves as a major input to the technology itself. Any kind of change in government policies, any kind of change in the behavior of the customers, like we are talking of the change in terms of the cultures, traditions, all of those things do have an impact. A new policy comes out with environmental issues. Unless and until we adapt to those kind of situations, those kind of things, so we cannot reach to the end goal. That is what we need to understand. Right? And we are thinking of allocating the resources. Now, the resource utilization should be done in a very optimal way, because this is what, if not managed properly, can lead to a lot of wastages, adding cost to the production process itself. But if managed properly, then it can lead to many such different sort of advantages for the organizations also. So these are the basic inputs to have the technological involvement in the organization. Right? If we to talk of these traditional inputs, you see, we are talking of money, materials, facilities, labor, the management philosophies. All of those will stand as the traditional inputs. So, of course, whenever I'm thinking of adapting to different sort of technologies, I need to think of the budget part of it. I need to think of the support of the top management. I need to have the involvement of human resources. I cannot, I cannot simply, implement a particular technology if my human resources are not capable enough to deal with those kind of technical advancements. That is what we need to understand. Beyond that, we are thinking of intelligence-based inputs like this science, knowledge, skills, the information, whatever we are talking of, right? But okay, these are the factors which serves as the inputs to the process, and the output is technology or technical advancements, whatever we to talk of, right? But before before we adapt to those kind of technology, or before we arrive at the requirement of a particular technology in the organization, we must be very cautious about the usefulness of that particular technology. I cannot adopt any kind of technology, or there cannot be an arbitrary decision for a particular kind of technology. Right? What factor counters over here is whether the particular technology that we are intending to adopt in the organization are aligned with the objectives of the organization. That is what is the most important aspect. Alignment of the overall objective of the organization with the technological advancements or whatever technology you are going to adapt. For that, there has to be a constant monitoring. This alignment, which is the basic cause of adoption of any kind of technology, should be adopted in a uh, proper way. So there has to be a proper evaluation of the things. Like we do say, implications of this technology may not yield the desired success if not properly aligned. Whether there is actually a requirement of the advancement of the technology or not. If not, then why I'm going to invest a hell lot of money in that? But if at all there is a requirement, then I don't have a choice other than to adopt those kind of things. So proper evaluation of the requirement should be considered. Beyond that, we do have one more aspect, funding, the budget part of it. Does the cost part of the incorporation of technology fits into it? Does the budget part is sufficient enough for the adoption of new technology? That is what I need to consider, right? We are talking of involvement of this technology must be done in line with the L&D, learning and development aspects of the human resources in the organization. Because it is ultimately the people of the organization who are going to use those kind of technologies and going to use those kind of processes. So a continuous alignment with the learning and development initiatives of the organization has to be there. We're talking of the process is not that simple as it appears. So there has to be frequent communication, interaction among all the members of the organization. The objective of introducing any such technology is to have synchronization among all the processes. And unless and until the efforts are synchronized, the ultimate effort of the organization cannot be accomplished. So support of the top management should be there. Support of the top management is what that we expect from the organizations itself, right? But more often, we do talk of the importance of information for the implementation of this technology itself. So, how do we collect those information? How do you interpret those kind of information as a part of our requirement? That is what that defines the adaptation or incorporation of technology in the organizations. So these are some of the aspects that we need to take into consideration. But whenever we are talking of this basic features of technology, we say the basic features of this technology may be divided into three of these broad aspects. Right? We are talking of the product design. So maybe from a very simpler aspect of defining the product to the most complex aspect of defining the product. Technology plays a very significant role over here. And we are talking of the automotive, like parts, those kind of things. Similarly, production technologies or production techniques that includes the blueprints, the flowcharts, the formulas, the recipes, right? The processes, fabrication, instructions, the tools, the fixture designs, operational procedures, material specifications. All of those things will be covered under this production aspects, automotive aspects, right? Management systems. Management systems includes these plans, layouts, technical control system, the plant design, plant layout, quality control, quality management, testing, material procurement, inventory control, all of those, maybe like equipment maintenance, repair, machine loading, all of those kind of things should be covered under the aspects of technological implications. Whenever we are talking of this technology, we do come out with two different concepts associated with that: know how, know why. If we do talk of the basic aspects, know why concept, what it says, I must be aware of the factors for which I am incorporating this technology in my organization, making my objective clear. Know why concept. Because any kind of change, any kind of transformation will create a lot of disturbances in the organization. And all of those kind of disturbances will lead to different sort of problems. Starting from resistances of the people to the adaptation, it will lead to different sort of problems altogether. Right? So before implementing any kind of technology or before going for any kind of changes, advancements in the technological dimensions of the organization, I must make myself clear related to the regions. Right? So I must understand why it is required. The second part of it is, if I'm adapting to those kind of technologies, right? Like most of the time we are talking of this technology absorption, right? Technology absorption is a process by which organizations enhance their capability to manufacture or produce or to remanufacture or to reproduce the products. So what sort of factors it leads to? Understanding the basic processes. Okay? So there we come across with the concept of know-hows. Know why makes it clear how we are going to, or the reason for which we are going to adopt this technology, but how we are going to implement it. For that, what is required is that all the system, maybe the organization or the people associated with the organization, they should be very clear and thorough in terms of the general knowledge they do have. General knowledge related to the technology itself. It's not everyone's cup of tea. So few such people should be dedicated for that, right? For carrying out these R&D activities or any kind of technological advancements, all of those, right? So not only that, you need to have knowledge specific to the system. Systems means I'm talking of the particular industry. I'm talking of the particular process where I'm going to apply this technology. But at the same time, I need to understand the requirements of the farm at large. So farm specific knowledge, industry specific knowledge has to be there before we go for any kind of technological adoptions. Right. But beyond this, we are talking of the basic features of this technology as a package, right? The things that we need to understand. Certain terminologies we are going to discuss, like this adoption, right? Adoption says the features of the technology which can be suitably modified or changed after keeping in view of the needs of the customers. So technology is something which does have the characteristics of continuous improvement. So it has to be modified. Like we are talking of, understanding the requirements and then coming out with a particular sort of product with specific features related to that. But adoption of this technology is not enough. Adoption is like answering whether we need to adopt this technology or not. But if we need to adopt this technology, that is a compulsion on our part, what is required is we need to adapt ourselves to those technical advancements. Adaptation says, how do I utilize those technologies in production activities or in enhancing the facilities that my production system does have? Adapting ourselves to those kind of requirements. What it says, like adding more features to the existing product line or modifying certain features which doesn't function as per the desired level. So based on those kind of feedbacks, we bring a change or we bring a modification in the existing technology and we adapt ourselves to those kind of technologies. We have understood this technological absorptions. What it says, all these technological absorptions are to be used in an optimal way. Like fifth point is there, optimization, but it has to be understood, optimized, and upgraded. Like what it says, unless and until I do have a deeper insight into the basic integrities of these technological advancements, it will be difficult on my part to make an application of that. That is what is required, right? Sometimes we say that this process also leads to acquisition of technology. Here, I need to make certain things clear, like the approach of the organization in terms of technological advancement. Whether the organization does have inner, you know, inward approach or inner focus, or the organization does have outward approach, outer focus. Means what? Do I have my resources capable enough to modify or create new technologies? If I do have resources, then I don't have any objection of investing on them to bring modifications or bring advancements in the existing technology so that we can fulfill the requirements of the customers. But that is completely dependent on the managerial capabilities and the HR capabilities, whatever I do have in the organization. But if I don't have those capabilities, then I need to depend on the outer sources. So I need to find out, I need to go for a search process to understand what sort of technology is actually required by my organization. What sort of technologies are compatible with the kind of production process or mechanization process, whatever I do have. Right? And based on that only, these technologies can be purchased. Right? So inward approach says technologies can be developed within the organization. But outward approach says if I don't have resources, I don't have capabilities of my managers and HR human resources, then I can think of acquiring that from the other sources, external sources, right? So acquisition of technology can be there. Whenever we're talking of this optimization of technology, mostly we say it's value engineering to optimize the material and energy consumption. If these technologies are not being utilized in an optimal way, it is again going to add to the cost by creating a lot of wastages. So the basic objective is the reduction of wastages, the best possible utilization of resources, what we call it as optimal utilization of resources available to the organization. And that is why we say that this technological advancements must optimally utilize the resources available for the organization. That's what we need to understand. But with the growth of science and development, as we say, there is a continuous requirement of improvement, upgradation in the technological dimensions also, right? So These improvements and upgradations in the you know, products or processes are there because of the development of science, are there because of the demand of the customers. So what we need to understand is there is a scope for upscaling the production process. There's a scope for you know upscaling the processes of the organization, and that is how we do think of technology to have a continuous process of development. Beyond that, other features of technologies is we are talking of this uh, adoption we have understood, right? But we do talk of this adoption in a different sense, like it's the features of the technology which can be suitably modified or changed, right? Okay. Protection of technology. Most of the time, we are talking of this, you know, uh, technologies which can be uh, created or generated by the organization itself, and there is every probability that the rivalry firms can replicate those kind of technologies, right? So what I need to do, I need to protect my technology, right? So there are two ways I can do that. I can protect my technologies through the patent process to have the patent act, or I can protect my technologies through trademarks. Patents gives us monopoly rights to use a particular sort of technology by ourselves within our organization. No one else can use that, right? But trademarks helps us out to understand the distinct features of the technology. It is to identify the uniqueness of that particular technology. So what is required is we need to have a continuous evaluation process, because we are not talking of evaluating the features of the product. We're not talking of evaluating the quality, but at the same time, nowadays, evaluation has to be done on the manufacturing process in terms of the facilities being extended by the organization. That is why all those manufacturing processes, facilities extended by the organizations must be certified, must be accredited. We are talking of many such different kind of quality certifications, right? So any kind of technological advancements must comply with those kind of quality certifications and accreditations. That is what we need to understand, right? Technical search strategy says whether it has to be incorporated within the organization or has to be procured from external sources. We should keep a continuous process of searching so that we can like here you can think of understanding the basic capabilities of the management or managerial people and the human resources of the organization. To what extent they can be developed for adoption of a new technology, or to whether these managerial capabilities and HR capabilities of the organization can develop the new technologies at their own end. So whether we are going to adopt this from outside or we are going to develop it inside. So there has to be a continuous search process. And towards the end, we to talk of this technology audit. Right? So this technology audit is, you know, it's risk related to acceptance of technology and the duration of the relevance of it. If I'm going to adopt a new particular technology, whatever the new technology that I'm going to have, right? Whether that can be suitably merged into the existing system, or do I need to drop down the existing kind of practices, manufacturing practices, whatever it may be, like making a complete transformation, revolutionary approach? Can my human resources, my other resources be compatible with the new technology itself? If I'm going to make certain investments on that, so to what extent or what would be the maximum duration for which those technologies can be valid? Let's talk of that. Audit can also, focus on the competency to develop or acquire the relevant technology itself. Sometimes organizations do also commercialize a particular kind of technology. Right? So if that can be developed by the people itself. Yeah. Technologies, you know, requires these R&D activities. So whenever we are talking of this technology audit, we to come out with a basic concept like, do I need to invest in terms of technology or not? First, if yes, then how much? What would be the kind of budget that I need to keep for my technological advancements? That is what to be understood in a proper way. Okay? So these are the basic aspects, basic features of technology that we do have. Now let's talk of the different sort of competitive strategies and the competitiveness and how this technology R&D is related to that. Earlier we have understood that whenever we do talk of any kind of technology or any strategies in general, right? This a strategy is a process whereby we are defining the goals of the organization and we do find out the roadmap, the means to achieve the end goals of the organization. Right? We say it is a process of deploying the resources as a end means chain to reach to the end goals. Tactics are concerned with employing them. How I am going to employ those kind of resources. Allocation of resources and employment of resources has to be taken together. So both this strategy and tactics, they bridge the gap for the goals and the process by which we can reach to those goals. We have already understood earlier that strategies can be as broad as a corporate level strategy or being narrowing down to a particular unit level of strategy, what we call it as the competitive strategy, and maybe related to the functional areas, operational areas. We call it as operational strategies or functional strategies. If we to talk of, say, this corporate level of strategies, we can think of industries like, Tata or Reliance kind of industries, where they are characterized as multi-industry business firm. They're not confining themselves to a particular industry. They have diversified themselves to multiple industries. Right? But multi-industry, what should be the basic strategic aspects, strategic intent of this multi-industries? The focus should be on the creating that balance, creating that synergy level among all the different sort of business practices that I do have, or creating a synchronization among the different industries where I do have my business, collaborating with the requirement of different industries and having a synchronization of that. That should be the strategic intent of the organization at the broad level, at the corporate level, what we call it as this corporate level of strategy. If I narrow down this corporate level of strategy to, say, independent unit level of strategies, we come across with this competitive strategies. Competitive strategies, they focus on like how these organizations can take an entry to the market, or in case how these organizations can take an exit. Like, how to win over the competition and survive in the market. Right? Say, for example, if I do talk of Aditya Birla Group, and we do come across with a particular unit like cement manufacturing. So this competitive level of strategies need to make us understand how it is going to gain that competitive advantage over other competitors. In what way I should define the goals of the organization so that the goals will be incompatible with the competitive strategies, right? And what should be the policies, plans, rules, regulations that I need to have so that this competitive, mindset of the people can be there. That is what. But at the bottom level, at the narrow level, we are talking of this functional or operational strategies. Maybe these organizations are engaged in multiple operational activities, whether you talk of engineering, manufacturing, R&D kind of activity, production, sales, accounting, finance, human resources, purchase, right? But all of those functional strategies require the support of the top level management, right, for the implementation. And in return, these functional strategies do provide a support to the competitive strategies of the units. So these functional strategies need to be reinforced from time to time. These functional strategies can contribute to the overall goals of the organization. We need to understand that, right? But when we talk of having this competitive advantage, right? We do come across with, like in our previous class we were discussing the Porter's 5 force model. Organizations nowadays, they are affected by these 5 different sort of external forces. They do have their existing rivalry means, the kind of competition that exists there among the existing players of the industry. So there is always a kind of war related to related to the product qualities, prices, attracting the customer base, increasing the sales productivity of the organization, all of those kind of things. But all those things are affected by the suppliers and the buyers bargaining power itself. We need to understand that this competitive advantage, whatever we are targeting, that should come out with the sustainable approach. It should be a sustainable part of the things. Like, say, you're talking of addressing to the customer's demand. What are the basic objectives that we do have? I'm not only influencing the decision of my customer to choose my product, but I want my customers to have my product over all the alternatives available in the market. Over all the alternatives available in the market. That is what we need to understand, right? So maybe I am being challenged with my rivalry organizations, rivalry firms coming out with a new such product with similar sort of features which can be a substitute to my product, or I may be challenged by the new players like entering into the industry with all such kind of innovative practices, all such kind of newer versions of the technology, which can really add a threat to my existing processes, giving me no other scope than to go for technological advancements. So whenever we're talking of the competitive advantages to be taken by the organization, always I need to understand that the R&D and D and the technology plays a highly significant role, right? So different sort of strategies are what that is being adopted by the organizations, right? We're talking of other aspects, like if I talk of this competitive advantages itself, right? We have earlier we have understood this. To gain the market share or to have that competitive advantage, right? Organizations should go for different sort of strategies. Like Unsop's product market expansion grid is what that demonstrates these kind of strategies in a better way. What we say is that the strategy for market penetration itself. So here we do have the objective of dealing with the existing set of product line, but with the current market segment, right? But with the objective of having a uh, increase, increased market share. So whatever marketplace I'm operating, I'm expanding it to other marketplaces. Right? Maybe we are talking of this product development, another one strategy to encash the newer markets. This is you to talk of this new products being launched in the existing market, products with new features, new sort of additional value that the customers can get being launched in the existing market, so that along with the existing customers, I'll be able to add more and more customers. Right? When we do talk of this market development strategies, so its objective is we need to expand to newer market, right? So existing products in a newer market altogether. Diversification says a completely different product line in a new market itself. Maybe, like if I do talk of these four categories, maybe penetrating the existing market, maybe launching a new product in the existing market, maybe launching the existing product in the new market, or maybe launching new products in the new markets altogether. All of these strategies that the organizations do have are based on few notations. You need to understand one thing, that the present day, like which is characterized to have this competitive advantage, are simply are based on a punchline, what we call it as quality product at a cheaper price. This is the survival punchline of all the organizations. If you don't focus on these two aspects simultaneously, it will be very difficult for us to cope with those kind of things, right? So what are the factors that leads to this competitive advantage? Like we are talking of price of the product should be lower, right? So I'm not talking of to have this cheaper cost, cheaper price range. Price is always sensitive. So price depends on the buyer's processes itself, right? Or what value the buyer is getting out of that. But we need to have lower products, lower products with lower prices in the market itself, right? The quality of the product is to be very high. You know, these two are contradicting objectives, because quality is directly proportional to the price. I do have the challenge of reducing the price and increasing the quality. And that is where I do come out with the importance of R&D and technology. Not only that, right? You know, nowadays everyone is time concerned, and customers want their demands to be fulfilled at instant. They need an instant solutions to everything. So time factor is another one important aspect. What is required is this product which should be available to the customers in a quicker succession of time, right? All those things that you need to take into consideration, right? Customer services are to be improved, right? Attractiveness of its product has to be there. Awareness of the product is greater. Other social and psychological, ideological factors are also there, which do lead to competitive advantage of the organizations. But continuing with that, as if we have discussed yesterday also, right? We are talking of this competitive strategies, right? And whenever we talk of this Porter's model of competitive strategies, we do focus on three different approaches, right? One is the cost leadership approach, the differentiation approach, and the focus approach. Right? Cost leadership approach says you need to sell the products at a very cheaper price. The basic objective or the strategies that the organizations need to focus is on reduction of cost. Cost of production should be reduced so that the overall benefit can be given to the customers. Customers always want a cheaper product range. That is what, right? And if you want to win over this competition, then you have to deal with all those product lines based on the market prices itself. When you are segmenting your products, you have to take this into consideration, right? What sort of product you are coming out with, whether it is for a premium category of people or it is for general people, right? If I'm targeting the general people, then price is a factor that I must consider. Cost reduction should be there, right? But if I have to talk of the premium segment, so there the organizations don't focus on cost leadership, right? They focus on value additions to the existing products, differentiation strategy. How to gain that differentiation in terms of the product features. How can I be a market leader, right? Like standing out of the competition itself in terms of the product features, what I do have. So there, the strategy is to make investments, more and more investments in terms of improving the quality, improving the features of the product so that it can stand alone in the market. It can lead the market. That is right. So focus strategies, whether I should go for cost leadership or I should go for this differentiation focus, right? So that is what we need to have an understanding, right? Where to have this low cost product, right? Where to focus on this products with quality and differentiations. These are the things that I must take into consideration, right? Whether the market is narrow or market is broad, what sort of segmentation of I do focus, all of those things should be considered, right? Beyond that, one more thing we need to understand that whenever we are talking of these technologies, right? These technologies and the value chain processes, right, should be understood. Now, See, we are talking of this Porter's value chain model. What it is that value chain analysis is it's a systematic way of examining all the activities of a farm, right? How they interact for analyzing the sources of competitive advantage. The focus is on right having a source of competitive advantage, right? But like we're talking of whenever I'm referring to all of those value addition processes or values in my organization, right? So what values of the organization I do have which I can make as a distinct value what my competitors may not have. So all those value chains must have a beginning and must have that ending itself. So he classified all those activities in the organization in terms of two categories. There are primary activities and support activities. Primary activities is how do I receive the inputs? How do I convert those inputs to the outputs? Right? How do I ensure that the outputs are reached to the customers? How do the how do I influence the buying behavior of the customers? How do I pursue the customers for the purchase of the goods, right? And how do I have the support system? Right? This is what, as you can see, inputs are this logistic, inbound logistics, we to say, right? So distribution facilities, transportation facilities, material handling, warehouses, how I place all of those things. Converting inputs to outputs, the basic focus on operations, the standardizations and the real-time, assessments, inventory system, all of those will come over there. Next, we said all those outputs must reach to the customers. We are talking of outbound logistics, right? How these orders are processed, how these deliveries are made. Next is pursuing the customers to have the decision related to the purchase itself. We are talking of pricing, communication, promotion, product-based, community needs. All of those will come out. And finally, we are talking of providing a support. So the services, right? Installations, repairs, attending these customers' grievances, customer services, all of those things will be there. But these primary activities are supported by the other activities like your firm's infrastructure, the basic managerial resources, financial resources, legal resources, planning processes of the organization, right? We're talking of the human resources. So the professionalism among the human resources, like your personal development, employee relations, performances, all of those aspects related to the human beings will come away. Technological development will be there. So it is an integrated part of the supply chain system of the organization, right? And procurement. It should be real-time inventory, communication with the suppliers, purchase supplies and materials itself, all of those things. So what we need to understand is that here we are not categorizing the activities, right, in terms of the organizational chart. Rather, here we are focusing on a collective approach of these activities. So as a whole, it will lead to the achievement of the organization's goals. So here what we need to do is that some of the other organizations, they place greater or lesser impact on these specific activities like resource allocation, management abilities. So that distinguishes them from other organizations. Or maybe by performing specific activities better than the customer, better than their competitors. Like you are talking of better or trained human resources of the organization, or creating a linkage with all of those kind of things, right? So ultimately, this will lead to the uh, involvement of R&D. So let us conclude that even if we do say that this R&D activities or these technological adaptations of the organizations, that is a minimum requirement of the organization. But can I say that whatever amount that I have invested in developing the technology or in developing the resources of the organization will lead me to the desired result may not be. So, implementing technology is to be taken into consideration with much cautiousness. These are some of the steps that we need to take into consideration. Right? So let us end up over here with this technology as a strategic enabler. And next class we are going to discuss on knowledge management as another strategic enabler. So thank you very much. Have a good day.